Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? You know who it is, the real one, always 100, Gabriel Skywalker from the DFS Club, coming to you as promised. The exclusive one-on-one interview with Miranda, Fear the Maverick. I call her Miranda, the Killer Maverick. Um, yeah, so I'm excited, guys. Without further ado, out of the House of Muay Thai, Miranda Maverick, everybody. Welcome to the
Wow.
DFS Club.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, please, it is our pleasure. Um, So first off, it's no secret. You're one of the smarter athletes out there. You're getting your psychology PhD right now. That can't be
That's
easy.
true. It's not easy and it's rare in the sport. I know a couple people that are insulted by the fact that I'm smarter than them. So we'll just say I have more education than a lot of the fighters out there. I am pursuing my PhD while simultaneously trying to do the MMA. So, it's not an easy task, but I'm so far doing pretty good at it. I've been in school the entire time that I've been an MMA fighter.
That's incredible. Just to take the time out from training and then to do that. And I hear now you're teaching. So again, thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I can't say that enough.
Yeah, thank you. I
I'm a
literally
huge fan.
just came in the door from going to class and came back home and I was like, I gotta run and get on the phone.
Oh wait, hold up your hand again. Did you get your nails done?
I did. Oh,
Wow, look at that.
this was for my Captain Marvel outfit for Halloween. I
Oh,
know
I
I'm
saw
black
that.
for the fight, so
Yeah, if you're not following her on Instagram, guys, you got to check her out. You just released this picture where you on the beach where you just look jacked.
thanks.
I wish in my wildest dreams I could be in that shape. Um, so I consider you a winner at life. Now, when I say that, you have the career, you have goals, you have a PhD coming up, you have a boyfriend that looks like a superhero. This dude, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, he's a very good looking young man. Like, you're a winner in life. Um,
Appreciate it. Yeah, he's pretty up there on the number scale for guys.
Yeah, like I don't swing that way, but dang, I'm just that's all I gotta say. So
Thanks.
you're on the biggest card of 2020, Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. When did you realize that you finally made it UFC? Like, when did it finally hit you emotionally?
Hit me emotionally? Oh lordy. Probably not until 5 minutes after the fight. I don't know. I don't know. So emotionally, I hold that stuff in really good until after my fights because I don't like getting adrenaline rushes while I'm in the fight because then it affects me negatively when the dump hits me and can just be like, ugh, completely de-energizing. So I held it in until after the fight, and I think when I called my dad right after the fight, I got in the backstage and I was just like, "Give me my phone, give me my phone." Called my dad and started like bawling with him on the phone, and talking about the fight and everything. But I would say the realization hit me the second that Bruce Buffer announced my name. I kind of got like this
Oh my God.
thing going through my body, and I was the excitement kind of hit me, I guess. But of course, leading up to the fight, it's like what's happening, what's happening. But it all for me, I was like, this is a dream. Like I could wake up and somebody pinch me and be like, this wasn't real. Like get over it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us fans just like would give anything to hear Bruce Buffer call our name. I would just die. Um, Now I know I'm watching you in Invicta. I know how much it means for you to have your father in your corner. How were you able to make that big of an impact to kick that door down during the Georgian invasion, is what we called it, when they were just dominated? Put a stop right to that. You had that. You had your father not being there. You're overseas. You took a 20-hour or something flight over there. Like, how did you overcome all those obstacles, especially not having your father in your corner for your first time?
If anything, I think more obstacles almost make it more motivating to go in there and fight and put on a show. Like I was fighting not only for myself and God as usual, but I was fighting so that my dad and my family back home would one not be worried about me. So I didn't want to get hurt, but also my dad wasn't going to be in my corner, so I wanted to just go in there with his faith in me, not just him in person. So just gave me more motivation, I guess. Just like her comment before the fight at weigh-ins and everything, like people are giving her trash about that or vice versa, and I'm like, honestly, it helped the hype of the fight. Like, that's what fights are about. It's an entertainment industry. Had she not done that, it wouldn't have been as exciting. We wouldn't have had as much media leading up to the fight. So I'm glad that she was like, I will kill you. And, what ended up happening happened. But I will say, from her and previous opponents that have so called threatened me before fights, it just gives me that much more fuel and fire to go in there and beat their ass. So, excuse my language.
No, this is Skywalker DFS show. So drop F bombs, drop S. I mean, this is how we do it. Okay. So please don't hold back on that. Speaking of that, I saw an interview with Jojua on RT Sports after the fight with her nose in three places. Um, so she said, according to her, I quote, I wouldn't celebrate this victory if I was her. Why be happy when you lost the round? What is your take on that?
So I think my dad was the first person to see that interview, and of course, like, copy pasted that line, sent it to me with laughing faces, and I don't have any problem with her threat before the fight. I don't have any problem with what she says leading up to the fight. But how a person handles themselves after the fight, I think, says a lot about them. And to me, that was just really disrespectful. One, we see the judges' scorecards. Like,
Yeah.
you know what happens. You also see every website on the face of the planet that covered UFC 254 and how they scored the round. And I don't think anyone in their right mind scored that round for her. The first 45 seconds, absolutely. Argument made. She probably won that. After I got my groove and finally wasn't nervous from Bruce Banner, Bruce Buffer
Yeah.
calling my name in there, I had my timing right. I had everything on point. So the rest of the 4 minutes of that fight was just me the whole way. It was just really amusing seeing that. Like, I've never been unhumble or disrespectful in a loss, and I can't imagine ever being. Like, that's just, I have my personal opinions about it, but as a fighter alone, I think that's pretty disrespectful thing to do. Like, there's reality, and maybe she just feels bad for herself, and she has a big enough fan base that they're like, "You're right," But what a joke.
Yeah, it was RT, it was, I'm assuming, more favored towards her, but yeah, there is a certain honor you have in martial arts of, if you lose gracefully. So when you were walking down to the cage, what was going through your head? How was the butterflies?
I didn't have any. I pray right before I walk out. I actually called my dad, and we all said the prayer together in the back room, which is always a
Nice.
special moment for me. He always is the one that says the prayer, and I didn't want to miss out on it that time. So we were able to get him on the line. Me, my coach, Pete, and my dad all said a prayer. And it's not like people that are Christians even like question my religion because they're like, you go in and beat people's faces in. How is that Christian? And
Oh
for
god.
me, I'm like, do you say that about your grandson who's playing football and just bash somebody's head in with his helmet? No. Like, you probably get hurt more in that sport. It's literally just a sport. It's competition, which other people are like, that's vain too. And I'm like, all right, well, where do we draw the line then? You have a nice car you're driving around. How dare you, you unchristian soul? Like, where do you stop with that? But for me, I say that prayer as a way I tell God to help me show the best of my ability, put my potential out there, try to tell him, that I don't want hurt going in there, but I also don't pray for my opponent to get hurt. I pray that we both walk out of there safe every time. People are like, oh, so glad you cut her nose. And I'm like, no, like, I'm not glad I cut her nose. Like, it happened. I'm glad I got like fame and celebration from it. But at the same time, like, I could have done that in other ways too that would have made me happy. Like, I'm just glad that it got me paid, got me where I need to move up, but not necessarily that she got hurt. So I say that prayer to like get anxiety out of me. I believe that I prepared myself with everything possible leading up to that fight. I've trained as hard as I could. I prepared myself mentally, spiritually, and worked my butt off for that harder than anybody else had. There's no way my opponent outworks me. I don't care what fight it is or what timeline. Like, I'm the hardest working person in my gym. I try to show that every single day I walk in there. And that's not trying to be from a selfish perspective, but I literally am in there longer than anyone else. I show up first, I leave last, and I work hard and get my butt kicked every single minute of the day by guys bigger than me, and put everything into the training. So I get rid of my anxiety and nervousness. There's none of that walking into the cage. And so I step in there just knowing what happens, happens, and I'm going to be the best I can be. So he called my name, and that was the only kind of butterflies that there ever was. Leading up to that, though, I was just ready to rumble. Sorry,
That's
very
awesome.
long-winded answer, but there's so many
No,
aspects.
please. I love the answer. I mean, I just AKA over here, AKA obviously, in San Jose. They just opened back up, so I did sign up. So I'm kind of nervous about that. I'm 43 years old, okay, but I need to
Hey,
get my butt back in shape. I did all my whole life before this was security and protecting people, and I need to get back in shape.
well,
So
best wishes. That sounds like it'll be fun
yeah,
for you.
it, I'm gonna need it. So my thing is mostly DraftKings, FanDuel, fantasy sports, and I'm trying to do these interviews now to bring it more mainstream because I see these other sports. I'm not going to say for I know what's going on. They're going down. The ratings are going down. Nobody's watching these other sports. However, UFC is breaking records. Is again kicking doors down. Why do you think that reason is?
I think a lot of it was Dana taking initiative and during COVID making sure this sport kept going. It was literally the most successful sport during the COVID-19 whole pandemic that was going on. During all of the closures and everything else, we had more events put on than any other sport. There was more pay going out to athletes compared to other sports. Like, he just did a good job of keeping the fan base together. The Fight Island thing was just an amazing idea for promotion wise. Just the fact that it's called Fight Island alone
Yeah.
got it so much attention that it's insane. Everybody's like, "Oh, you went to Fight Island!" Like they don't even care about the fight; they're just excited that I went to Fight Island. So just that's the reason it's so successful, and also like, who couldn't like the pure raw like gladiator type stuff we do? Like that's something I love about it. It's so, and there's still rules and things, but for people who are casual fans that watch it, they don't know that. They're just like, "Oh, there's two people going in there trying to kill each other! Yay, blood and war!"
Well, I just remember the memes and everything going around social media when Fight Island was announced. It's Bloodsport, right? You
Yeah.
automatically think Bloodsport, Jean Claude Van Damme going to the
Yep.
island. It was awesome, but yeah, they did a great job over there. As a fan, I thought so. I could
Yep.
only imagine. It looked like a lot of you were taken care of very nicely. Um, but would you go back?
Absolutely. I'd go back in 2 weeks if they called me and said there was a fight. The only thing stopping me from certain timelines of fighting is schools. But I've already told the matchmaker 2 different times in 2020 that work for me. So hopefully we can make it happen. I don't think they're having any more cards there in 2020. That'll be 2021. They hopefully start back up. But I'm ready for wherever they send me, hopefully before 2021 comes.
I'm looking forward to it. I know when my wife personally, she's not really big into it like I am, but when we watched your fight, and the she about jumped out of her couch, and I've never seen her do that when that front elbow came through and landed and her nose exploded, right? She's a huge fan of yours. I haven't seen her react like that since Ronda Rousey. Okay. I'm not going to compare you to Ronda Rousey because I mean that's you're totally two different. Like, where did the striking come from? I knew you were a striker, right? I was telling everyone in my predictions video, like, Miranda's going to take her down. It's going to be over in the first round. She might, she's got a great blitz or whatever. And then you just went out there with that technical Muay Thai striking. And I think you shocked a lot of people. Now, a lot of people say, oh, she can't strike. I wasn't one of those people. I knew you could strike, but at that level, wow. So
Yeah,
you have
thank
the
you.
ground game, you have the striking. What's going to stop this young lady, right? In a division where, let's face it, you don't have the best contenders that will match up against Valentina.
I agree. And, I'm not saying because I get all that hate from what I said afterwards, but nobody really listened to me. I don't want to jump right at Valentina right now. I wouldn't want to be paired right now and then say, okay, you have a title fight. I'd be like, I'm not ready. But
Yeah.
2 years from now, even less than that, I'll be ready. I want a top 15 right now. I want a top 10 right after that, if not right now, and then move my way up the ladder to it. I just see the top 5 girls right now as playing this patty cake game of, oh, I beat you and I beat you, so now I'll
Yeah.
fight her. Oh, but I beat you this time, so now I'll fight her. And nobody has real competition for her. Nobody has a game plan aligned for her, and nobody has a wrestling or grappling background strong enough to defeat her or put her butt on the ground to even test her. For all we know, she's a black belt belt level grappler and is amazing at that too. Nobody's forced her hand. And I think that's kind of how it worked for my striking. Why would I ever show my striking when I don't need to? And even this fight, I probably didn't need to, but it's the UFC. I'm trying to go out there and impress and show Dana I've got more than just aggressive cuddling on the ground, you know, as people
Yeah.
like to joke about it. Like, I have the striking too. I just hadn't had to show it yet. And I went in there and showed that not only I have power, but I also have precision.
Yeah, that was, I mean, just the strength you have is just amongst anybody I've seen in this division.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, I don't see you have any problems taking nobody down. Honestly, with your style, with your strength, like you're jacked. Like I'm not like, how did you get so jacked? Like I want to know.
Okay, well, you know, I grew up on a farm, and I give that mostly
Ah,
credit. Like, to explain, I wish one day, I hope to be famous enough that somebody wants to make a movie or a book. Like, I want to be able to tell my story because it is just so unique. Like, there were posts, I pounded posts for months of my life. I would say literal months of my life were spent pounding posts. And they weren't T posts, like the regular little metal poles that you stick in the ground that you see people, but they're like huge oil well pipes, and I would have to pick them up one at a time and do it like the strongman style where you go hand
yeah.
over hand. Pick it up at the age of like 7 years old, weighing like 60 pounds, you know, and these things are weighing about 70 to 80 pounds each. And I just hand over hand it, stand it up for my dad to get the skid steer over it, and then pound it in. Go to the next post. Do it all day long from like morning till dark. And that's not an exaggeration. And I got strong even as a very young kid. Like, people were like, "What? Like, you're crazy." I had a six pack at the age of like 6 and was just out muscling all the boys my age until I got to like 16 years old. And then, even then, you know, I was just doing stuff on the farm that nobody does, picking up 4 buckets of feed every day and taking them down and just doing that load
Or
after load. Yeah, 2 in each hand. And that gets the grip
oh my,
strength and everything too. I milked cows. So that's grip strength. Like, I've never met a
yeah.
girl that can grab me and move my arm. You know what I
Me
mean? Like, that's
myself, yeah. Me myself. That also, I didn't grow up on a farm, but I grew up around farms and helped my friends out. My best friend now has a farm down the street. I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I get exhausted just putting up fence posts. Now what you just talked about, forget it. I couldn't do it as a grown man. So yeah, mad respect for that.
yeah, that,
Uh,
and then of course genetics too. Like, I joke about it, but it's for real. Like, if you see my dad, he's like 47, I think he
yeah,
just turned, and then my brother's just turned 18 years old, and my sister's about 17, and we're all just honestly like genetic specimens. Like, I don't know, we somehow, my dad put this like muscle load on us that I don't, it's kind of creepy. Like, I could probably weigh 180 and not look fat and just be like completely muscled out. I don't know. So people joke with me that after my MMA career I got to go into bodybuilding, but
yeah, you could. You look like a bodybuilder, but I couldn't see you ever dropping to like straw weight because like how are you gonna cut? What are you gonna do? Cut fat off your body? You know, there's no.
yes.
Oh, sorry, muscle off your body, not fat. You have no fat.
So, like, at 115, I actually tried to do that my
Oh
first two
no.
pro fights, and as you'll see on my record, I did not make weight either time. I actually went into like shock the second time that I tried to do it. So that's, my dad was like, "You're never doing that again," and I was like, "All right." So jumped to 125, and it's by far where I need to stay. And I've gained weight even since trying to do that, just in muscle. Like, tried to get my nutrition under control, and now, you know, I used to get like, not chubby, but like to where I wasn't in shape and cut over an off season. And now I feel like I look like a professional athlete 24/7. So, there's just been big changes, both in maturity, mindset wise, and physically.
Yeah, those fights I watched you and Invicta, I kind of was like watching you grow up. It was kind of a trip, and now you're a grown woman. You're, like I said, you're a winner at life, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And you know, I'm rooting for you. I'm a huge fan. And to see you just go in there and make that debut in such an impactful way, I'm just at a loss for words. Um, what advice do you have for the younger fans, especially young little girls that might look up to you as a role model? What advice would you have for them?
For the ones that are trying to go into MMA, and a lot of people ask me, well, what about the girls that are trying to go into sports and college and things? There's different things based on your different goals, but one thing is just stay consistent, focus in life. Like all these things that other people find important usually aren't important in the long run. Like I'm not worried about going to all of my friends' parties and going and getting drunk and doing all the stupid crap that society or your own friends a lot of times will tell you is important and great. I never went through that phase in college, and it paid off for me a lot in the long run. Not only was I successful in academics, and people will torment you for it firsthand, like you're a nerd, you're this, you're that. Like, don't listen to that crap. You're going to be their boss in 3 years, and so focus on that in game. And by in game, I don't even mean like my end goals in life are not to be champion in the world. My end goal in life is not to have my PhD. It's what I'm going to do with those things. It's what the money gets me, what that representation and the platform gets me. I want to be able to, for instance, represent my religion on this huge platform for the world to see. And hopefully I do that every time I fight and go in there and kind of show what it's like to be a Christian. But in addition to that, like my schooling and stuff, I'm going to get a job, but the job isn't my end goal. My end goal is to get the money to help my family, have property, have investments when I'm older, and hopefully like live out the full potential I can have. So don't worry about the little piddly crap that other people tell you is important, and make sure that you have a little thing written in my planner that's telling me what to do.
That's awesome. I know because, like, again, I'm gonna say it a million times. I know your career is gonna take off. I know you're gonna be the next. You're gonna be main eventing these fight nights, and then you're gonna be main eventing the pay per views. I already know that. I can already. I have a good eye for talent. I'll just say that. So don't forget about us little people when you're out there on Wheaties boxes and Pepsi cans, and So what's next for Miranda Maverick? What's like? Do you have anything in the works? Any fights that are even like negotiating right now? And you don't have to. I mean, if it's secretive, like don't worry about it. But you
Well,
want to
like
draw
I
some
said,
hints?
I talked to the matchmaker and I told him the times that I'm available. So hopefully early December to mid December. That's the hope. No names have been put in the drawing board yet, but like I posted on Instagram, you guys should go in there and put your thoughts and volunteer who you think I should be fighting next or in the next few fights, and hopefully people will hear everybody being vocal. That's kind of how the UFC does it a lot. I mean, it is for the fans, it is for the entertainment. So hopefully we'll get a top 15 or top 10 and get to show my stuff again.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. So I saw the. So did you watch the Silva fight
Did.
on Saturday?
I
So
did.
Dana White made a God, I love Dana White. I just love that man. He don't give up. You know what? He goes out there and when he meets the press, I feel him, right? Fake news, all this stuff. I love him. I admire him for that. But he said Anderson, he regrets putting Anderson in that cage, and I really like agreed with him on that. Um, what's your take on that? Do you think it's time? I mean, his legacy, is great. Probably one of the greatest strikers to ever be in the sport. I mean, of course, it's up for debate, but do you think it's time for him to hang it up?
I mean, first of all, I don't think it's all uh sorry. I don't
Okay.
think it's all up to Dana. You know what I mean? I think Anderson
Yeah.
Silva kind of chose that for himself. So it's hard to feel sorry from that perspective or like blame anybody for it. But it is time for him to just, BJ Penn, Anderson Silva, like you see these greats, these legends go in there, and then just because they're coming into older age and because these people are getting more well rounded as time goes on, the sport's relatively new. Like there's
Of course.
kids now that are growing up doing MMA from the age of 4 instead of just being like, I wrestled at 7 years old on. Like, that's one division of the sport. And now these kids are growing up with all these new moves and all these new tactics, and they're becoming part of the sport now. Like, even myself, like I didn't grow up in that way, but I have that background of MMA. I have these new techniques that were taught to me that, let's say, Randy Couture and them didn't have, when we thought they were
Right.
the best in the world.
Yeah.
So the whole, well, they're the GOAT, like that changes every 5 years, you know what I mean? But the Anderson Silva thing's just not even that Dana shouldn't have put him in there. It's just you got to know when to stop. But at the same time, if he wants to do it and that's how he wants to live out his legacy and he just has this desire to fight, who are we to tell him he can't, you know? Like, the problem is these new people that come up and don't know what a legend he is and then just tarnish it based on these last couple fights.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I did. I just I feel for his safety. Me being 43, like, I don't know if my chin's as good as it used to. I've never lost a street fight, but I don't know if my chin's as good as it was. I think I'm just concerned for his safety. Now, gimmicks. Have you thought about taking on like some kind of like gimmick to like, I know Rhonda had a little gimmick, her stare down and just her being very vocal. Have you thought about bringing that in as part of the Miranda Maverick brand?
My Miranda Maverick brand is going to be the most natural fighter out there. I try to be myself, and very unstereotypical is how I like to present myself. I'm not doing the tattoos and the grumpy faces and the shit talking and all that. I would love to like have a promotable fight against somebody, like if they insult me or whatever, so be it. Then it's free game, but I'm never going to start with the shit talking and stuff. I try to be very humble when I go in there and just serious. Like, just the thing is to just know that you literally are standing in the way of my dream if you stand in front of me at weigh-ins, and I'm going to treat you like it.
That's great. That's good to hear. Of course you're gonna attack back. You're gonna sit back and take it. So I saw on Instagram that you now have merchandise. Let's talk about this merchandise. How can we buy this merchandise? Because I would like to buy some shirts for my wife and myself. Where can people go to find all of your merchandise?
Right now, I don't have a website started. Hopefully, in the next year. But the best way is just literally send me a direct message on Instagram is easy, Twitter, or even Facebook. I'll get back to you guys pretty fast. Shirts right now are selling for $40 each shipped, as long as you're inside the United States. They say Top Gun, Young Gun, and then Miranda Fear the Maverick in the middle, kind of a Top Gun spinoff on the shirt. So check that out. All of the proceeds, like, basically go to helping with my fight camps and stuff. They kind of get put in a separate cachet of money so that I can use those for weight cut money and things like that, and for coaching. So I have that. I have autographed pictures that are always for sale. They're $15 each, and then I have old merchandise that's like from fights. You can get fight gloves and things like that, and those vary in price. But just message me, and all right,
Yeah.
stuff, even like some personalized shirts that I had from when I was a blue belt or even purple belt and things that say my name on them. I'm been keeping them around just in case fans want
Oh, they're gonna want them. They're gonna want them. You might want to hold on to some of them because they're gonna be worth a lot more in the next 2 years. I will tell you that right now. So don't sell everything yet.
them.
I mean, the floor is yours.
Okay.
How can people find you on every platform? What do you want to put out there? And what is your message to your fans that are going to be watching this?
First off, I'm the only one of me. It kind of represents my whole last name, the Maverick. I'm the one and only Miranda Maverick. When you go on social media or anything else, I don't think there's anybody else on this earth with my name. So just type that in. You'll find me on social media. It's usually at Fear the Maverick. It varies a little bit. Twitter is at Fear the Maverick. Instagram is at Fear the Maverick _HOMT. That's the populated version of social media I have right now is Instagram, but please go follow me on Twitter too. I restarted my account to make it more professional and recent. And then my Facebook is also Miranda Fear the Maverick is my athlete page. So go give me a follow, send me a message if you want to know anything or want to purchase some merchandise. I'm usually pretty good at responding as long as you're not creepy. And, follow me from here. The journey is going to be great. It's best to get on the train early. If you want to sponsor me, contact me now because it's going to be cheaper than it will be in 2 years. I can tell you that right now. Um, but yeah,
That's
thanks.
exactly what I was going to say. Wheaties, Pepsi, Coke. You better sign this young lady right now before you're going to be like 2 years ago, like, man, we should have signed her then. So all you sponsors out there watching,
Mhm.
check out Miranda, please. Do yourselves a favor. Let's give this young lady as much support as we can. Let's get her up. I can't wait to your next fight.
Thank you.
The DFS club, which is my DFS community, can't wait to your next fight. Um, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know everyone wants to talk to you. I know you have school going on, you have training going on. I'm just so humbled and very, very thankful that you came on my show. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Hopefully, we'll do it again next time.
I hope so. Please don't be a stranger.
All
Please
right.
don't be. I want to be interviewing you the night before you face the, not the night before, but maybe a couple of weeks before or after you win that title.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, hit her up for merchandise. If you're a sponsor out there, please do yourself a favor and sign this young lady while you can. All right, because she's the next big thing. Again, my name is Gabriel Skywalker. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Let's get this bread. Don't take shit from nobody. And I'm out, guys. Take care.